People don't even know this. A lot in trouble. I was in the principal's office
Time to time.
fighting at school, throwing a brick at the teacher.
Part of the gang.
Throwing a brick at the teacher.
Yeah, man, there was this other time the Swana teacher, I don't know.
KasiKast Podcast.
Start recording.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another KasiKast podcast with your boys, the Street Parliament. KasiKast. Here is your boy GC in Peruana, and I'm watching with my ministers.
Hey yo, it's your boy Mula Ranks, and we're back again with another one. Yes, we're back with a podcast.
This is Lebelo Deep, and we're back again with another one.
Kanto, why you always like that? It's just very deep. Yeah, but today we have a very special guest. We're doing that school podcast that we promised. Remember earlier this year we had a pupil. Now we just wanted to get the top ones now, a teacher, right? So without any further ado, Mr. Welcome to KasiKast. Can you please just introduce us? Who are you and where are we actually? Where are we actually?
Kasi Parliament, right?
Yeah, KasiKast.
Oh, KasiKast.
KasiKast.
Yes.
KasiKast.
Parliament.
Yeah,
The Street Parliament.
yeah.
I guess if one wanted to feel part of the pack, I should start by saying yo, but I can't do that. I'm Mr. Lebelo. I'm an educator at Soshanguve South Secondary School. And I've been with the school for quite some few years. And I'm glad that today I'm graced by the Street Parliament dudes, the president of the parliament on the streets, man, doing what they do best, capturing the stories about people in the hoods and whatever that is it that they do. Yes. And I'm hoping to have fun today. I hope it's not an interview for the chat, eh?
Yes, that's the aim
That's what
of the podcast.
We're not here for interviews, we're just here to catch up and chat to our Kasi people. Okay. People are doing great. You're telling us you've been here for some time now. And just something that sparked my interest when we in your office earlier, you spoke about round tables.
Yeah.
Ne? And I just want to tell me, like, what sparked the idea to bring this initiative here at the round tables with those students?
Oh, okay.
And firstly, please explain the round tables. Maybe there's somebody who's going to what is round tables?
And how it works.
Yeah, and how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Perhaps let me start by saying, before I came to the school, so I was at another private school at Garangua,
Okay.
called Leap Science and Maths School.
Okay.
And the idea of this round table is actually born from that side.
Okay.
So what happened there is that there are life orientation sessions. It's not the typical one where the teacher will be in a classroom and the teacher is talking and interacting with the learners.
Yes.
Actually, they have theirs differently. That daily, their LO is all about having to have a chat.
Okay.
So the subject is actually looked at as a life experience more than a content subject that's supposed to be taught in class.
Yes.
So the learners becomes the center of the conversation.
Exactly.
And with that, it becomes even much easier for them even in their exams because they are talking about things that they've been openly speaking about. And as a result, it gives them even chance to can be able to tap into their own emotion, into their own stories and share amongst themselves. So what we do now with the round table is that literally we'll have learners, we sit in a circle. And actually there's a principle to that.
Okay.
Because when you look at the circle, take a rubber band, for example.
Yeah.
If you look at the rubber band, elastic as maybe, you'll never be able to point where it is the strongest.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we are sitting in a circle, in essence, it's telling everyone that we are all equal here.
Yes.
I'm not sitting with you as a teacher, I'm sitting as part of you. So much as you're going to share your stories, I'm going to share my own story.
Yeah.
And what I will do even in those sessions, I will even open up myself for learners to get to know who really am I. I will talk about my life stories when I was young, where I grew up, the challenges that I had, and I will use even the language that they understand. This helps them to can see that I'm actually one of them. I've experienced whatever they've experienced. I I once had a chat with this wise man, and he said, people don't get inspired by people that intimidates them.
Yeah. Sure.
They get inspired by people that have walked through the type of life that they are experiencing at this point in time. So when someone comes here and they are all fresh in their clothes, driving a nice car and all that, it's intimidating to those that do not have.
Yeah.
But it's that moment when you tell them that actually, before I was here, actually this is where I started. And when we can relate on that level, we find it easier for us to be able to open up. So then I come to this school and I read the environment. I'm like, I know these learners can also benefit from such open talks, because it's a big school. Chances are that it's easy for you to miss a learner that is having a challenge in such a big school. So what best way to do it rather than to create a platform that can allow learners to be able to express their own emotions, the psyche, where they're coming from, and more importantly, as they speak, they now start to realize that actually I'm not alone here. There are people that are experiencing similar things, and perhaps they could be able to offer each other solutions. Unlike me being the one that tells them, you must do it this way, they learn from each other, say, no, this is actually how I did it, and all that. And sadly, they had to stop at some point in time because of COVID.
Yes.
We could not be able to gather anymore in groups and all that. We had to be observant of those COVID regulations. But now that you guys bring it up, man, I think it's about time that we revived it.
Yeah, it must start
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. So like he said a lot, man. And actually, from what you just said, I have two questions.
Yeah.
Isn't that the difference between private schools and public schools? That private schools are more like practical than public schools, because you just said, Hore, LO is taken like
It's
as it is
in the private schools, Mara,
than here in public we're using books, we're teaching what is written in the books. Isn't that the difference?
You know what? You're partly right, but one has to acknowledge there are great public schools out there that may not necessarily be doing it this way, because I can tell you of where the different schools. I will, if I were to share just a little bit. So when I started out, after graduating, I was at the University of Pretoria. Okay. And my first job at the age of 21, so I turned 21, was starting to work. Okay. So my graduation was just 20. This is because back then when we were at school, if you're a little bit smarter, you could jump at grade.
Okay,
Yes.
I remember.
Things like those.
Yeah,
So
I thought that was a myth.
no, it wasn't.
I've been telling these guys about it.
No, it wasn't. So when I was at varsity, my first year, I actually turned 17 when I was at varsity.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what happened. So that's what happened with me. So by the age 20, done. So when I was turning 21, I was offered my first job. I was offered by the University of Pretoria. I was a junior lecturer there for pastoral accounting.
Okay.
And then post that, when lecturing, that was my first job. Such a young age. It was tough, eh?
Yeah.
Can you imagine being 21 and those fly cheeks?
I was about to ask you,
It makes sense.
hey, he was balling.
Yeah,
Plus the champuras. Hey, you're young, you've got less
The other thing,
less responsibilities.
Lecturing people who are some are even older, some are even the same level age. And it can be challenging. The cheeks, like the temptation all over.
The most difficult part was to lecture some of my friends that we went to class with, but because they banged this module, by the time that I became the junior lecturer, now they're in my class. It was a bit awkward. So from there, I University of Pretoria have a high school now where we have all our athletes. Those Banyana team guys, the likes of Grand Kekana was there, Andy Jali. Those are the guys that I taught when I was still there at Tax High School.
Where they are now.
So I have a context of a private school and public school. And I can tell you that certain private schools don't do this way. LEAP is the only school that I know that has LO as a lifestyle rather than a subject. And you could see even in the end result that it has more impact. It changes these learners' perception about life, how they approach life. So it's for them, it's no longer about just the marks that's on paper. It's more than just that, So back to your question when you said private versus public, we need to give credit. There are many good public schools out there. They may not be doing having LO as a lifestyle like
Yeah.
LIP does, but you see that there's progress in the quality of the facilitation of the subject within the classroom. Because my belief has always been that LO is not a subject that should be taught, it's a subject that should be facilitated, where the learner is in the center of that.
Yes.
You know, it should be learner-centered
much easier to
type
comprehend.
of the subject. Yeah, where learners will be allowed to speak, to engage, and you need to give direction and facilitate the conversation amongst themselves. So yeah, there's still other public schools that are doing it right, but in terms of the roundtable, LEAP Science and Math School, it's championing
Was
that.
the best.
And I'm telling you, it's something that should be, you know, replicated from one school to the other. It's a really great initiative that they have.
You know, we took 10 steps went into deep now, but that's the beauty of like this platform. We just want people to be as expressive as possible. And like thank for you drop gems.
Is it the part where we get the
I don't know why I missed it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, I just want us to go a bit back now.
Yeah.
I just want to know about your background growing up. You know, I got the picture that you want to see. You know, that's I just want to know about, because how about the roundtable? You said you literally giving these students, pupils, a sense to say, I've been there, I was there, I know this. So I just want to know your growing up background. Where was it a Kasi village? Like, how was it?
So I grew up at a place called Mota. Back then, Mota was a village.
Which province?
Mota, it's now it's been adopted into Gauteng, but back then it was part of Northwest. It's when you go it's part of the Hammaskral.
Yeah.
Now, when you go into this Hammaskral side, you find Mota, Moeka, Sordam, and Makapanstad, that side. That's what we talk about. So I grew up as a young man with a family of 5. It's my mom and my dad and my 2 siblings. And in a shack, dude. I grew up in an orange shack. You know,
Still remember the color.
I still remember the color. And you know, when you are living in a shack, there's not even privacy. This is, I'm telling you, up until I even go to tertiary. I left the shack back at home. But things have since changed ever since one started to work. Then we were able to help at home and provide. And now they can enjoy a brick and mortar type of a house. You know? But that's how I grew up. So I grew up in a public school, more or less same as Soshanguve South Secondary, where I'm currently employed. At school, what type of a learner I am? I'm a learner that's got a lot of potential, but because I'm surrounded with a lot of social ills from society, where it's easy for you to can smoke, it's easy for you to can start being sexually active at a young age, you know, gangsterism, all that, peer pressures and all that. So I found myself a lot in trouble.
Okay.
People don't even know this. A lot in trouble. I was in the principal's office.
Time to time.
You know, fighting at school, throwing a brick at the
Were
teacher.
you part of a gang?
Throwing a brick at the teacher.
Yeah, man, there was this other time, the son of teacher, I don't know what she said, man. I was so angry. I went outside and picked up the brick and I threw it at her and I ran away.
out the school premises?
No, I ran out of class, but I was around. So they were looking for me. Where's that Lebelo? And you remember, I was short. When I was growing up, I was like very short.
Yeah.
I was a short, buffy kid. And, you know, people who like to tease you when you are like that.
Yes.
And, you know, fighting with boys for girls and all that. Knife. I brought the knife at school at some point in time.
It just shows sort of like kids are just kids.
Kids are just kids.
I mean, like,
You can never change your
you know, it is for that reason that, you know, because now I'm part of the disciplinary committee at school. That, you know, when I approach these boys and I will tell them, I've been here. And I know that if you miss a point whereby someone can pull you back before you go into deep, we might lose you forever. And that's my approach with these learners, that I don't want to be punitive in my measures in terms of disciplining them. I'm more corrective in my approach. That, you know, when I find them doing the same thing again and again, I'll try to pull them back, say, listen, this is not how it's done. There will come a time when I'll have to call a parent and we have a formal disciplinary hearing. But my approach is always, I know what these kids are going through. You know, if you're coming from a home where there is not much, you know, you don't have rich parents, you don't have rich, you know, extended families and all that. And you need to fend for yourself most of the time. You wish you could have this nice clothes, nice food. If you don't have that, the chance of you being mischievous it's very high. So when these boys are like this, I'm hard on them because I know what the opposite of the coin could be if someone doesn't help them at this point in time. So for me, it's a bit personal, and that's why I say I can relate. I'm not from a rich
And how did you survive from all the things you?
You know, it's funny.
Were you also saved by a teacher?
Yeah, great question. Was there a person like you, a teacher that maybe you looked up to,
Or you
and
just like
they came and like rescued you from that?
You know what? I have to be honest. I've always been a bit charismatic in my personality.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was not hard for most teachers to like me. There was this one particular teacher, Mr. Kwadi.
Okay.
He was our maths teacher and he was our soccer coach.
Oh, okay.
And because I played soccer,
Okay. There's a
I
sports
love
background
soccer.
there.
So,
Okay.
you know, when a child is misbehaving in class, you get them into any other sport. That teacher can be able to change this child's behavior even inside the classroom.
Okay.
And for me, that's how I actually got to be
saved.
better. When I started to be involved more in sport and all that, you know, when you'll be getting accolades for the best team, medals, and being recognized, it started to change. But
Yeah, it's like
I started to
at least
do
I'm
well.
doing something.
And I'm recognized,
Yes.
you know.
Recognition from
yes,
that,
yes, and I'm recognized for that. So, you know, that's my story in essence. So, yeah, there's a teacher there, but I have to say that my mom played a very big role. And usually people say, oh, but hey, fathers, where are they?
Yeah.
You know, my dad was never around a lot, but because he needed to go out there and hustle for us. And, you know, may his soul rest in peace. He was a very funny guy. And he really did try to do his best for us. But even he himself, I mean, he comes from a family of, you know, brothers and siblings that were gangsters, stealing cars.
Okay.
You know, for me, I mean, getting into the life of being mischievous, it was much more easier than actually being out of it. Because I had everything here. I mean, ganja smoking, they were there. Smoking, they were there. Drinking, stealing. That was more or less the family side there of my time. But with that being said, there were lots of good role models again there. You know, they'll do those things, but then we'll see them over time. Uncle Amosuso, all the Zulana, Balege Ratipananyana, and all that. But yeah, they'll be better. So yeah, man, I guess that's how I speak. Varsity, let me tell you this story. So we write exams, right? Sorry about that. So we write.
What age were you?
At matric, I was 15, 10, 16.
Were you 17?
No, 17 I was at varsity.
15 metric dog.
Remember, I skipped.
Yes.
When I skip. So when I'm in matric, literally I'm 16. So I'm going to turn 17, but I will be in varsity. So when I'm starting my varsity, I'm still 16. I'm turning 17 there. So how does this happen? Guys, I don't want to lie to you. You know, when you are at school and you don't have a role model at home in the family, there's no one that's academically inclined. You don't see anyone that ever went to school. Literally, I'm the first graduate in my family. And when I'm saying my family, I'm not only saying in my own house,
but
I'm
in the family.
Lebelo clan here. You know?
Shout out to that.
Now I'm getting there. Now I'm getting there.
Now it comes in.
Yeah.
Broke a generational curse.
The generational curse, as we say, you know. So they all succeeded doing different things, but the one that had and the formal qualification that's recognized, that's me. So I write my matric, and when I'm writing matric, I can tell you I'm not motivated for anything, you know, because I'm not even thinking of going to varsity.
Okay, by that time you had not figured out that you want to be a teacher. It was not
no, nothing like that. I was just going to school.
And you just going to write.
What am I going to do after matric? Nothing. Back then it was tough. We didn't even have this thing, internet, and all. We could not Google and all these things, you know. Though it existed on a certain platform, but majority of us, because of even our background, our parents, education and all that, you could not know where to and all that. So my mom, she used to do bead working. So they got a project that they were partnering with the University of Pretoria.
Okay.
So one of the white lady there, Anna-Marie, she asked my mom, don't you have a child that's in matric? My mom says, no, actually I do have one. And says, but the application form. Take it home. Give it to him, let him complete. My mom gives me the form.
Yes.
Hey, I will tell you. Said I already get the tats.
And like how are you feeling by the time you decided for more? Are you motivated or you just like it's one of
I don't even know what is this. I'm not even interested. Give me the forms, throw them away. into my Hustler magazine. You guys will not know what a Hustler magazine is. We used to have a Hustler magazine. It was for adult content. You know when you are a naughty young boy.
Okay. Let me see.
Under the bed.
I think I've come across one. I think I had.
They don't make those things. I mean, you guys, you get this content on the internet now. So my mom gives me that. 2 days later, she asked me, "Have you completed? I want to take it."
Yeah.
No, and then I can't even locate where the forms are. She goes back. She brings another set of forms. I complete those forms. And then when she sees that it's completed, she leaves 2 clipper for me. Says, okay, 2 clipper Ashi. The forms were 80 rand back. So 80 rand you'll go and pay. And with the 120 Namela Dijo and all that.
You'll see what you do.
Hey.
I could imagine like back then how much 200 was. Valuable 200 was. Dude, you drank this.
It was too much.
I'm loaded. My boys don't have that money. I'm the guy that took the money and you know hence I'm saying I almost sabotaged my own future. And this is what I'm saying. That sometimes the difference between many people making it and not is just having that one person.
Yeah, saving you from yourself.
Saving you from yourself, you know, 10 things around for you. So my mom, the next time the following day, hey, Akayara and all that, and you know that ages, we were still hiding. She's furious at me. She scolds at me, ever no. This time, you go. You know what? My mom is a good person. Old lady. I go give to Vas. Hey, this environment I've never seen. Dude.
And now you're curious. You're curious about this environment. Now you see candies.
So guys, subscribe to the KasiKast.
You were talking about Abu Chantel, the new environment.
Yeah, man. So tax I get in there. I don't even know which course I want to do. I'm on the queue. There's this lady or these students. You know, the 3rd year students. They usually get this job to assist us. How can I help you? And all that. I'm like, hey, this is my matric certificate. Because I used to do heavy subjects. You see, the thing is that I was smart but did not work hard. Had I worked hard, man, I'm sure I would have done even a different course. So I'm like, no, I want financial accounting. And then next option, I said, no, financial management. Next option, I said, nah, nothing. And she just says, just write education. I got the financial accounting when I submitted, said, no, it's full, too late. Financial management, it's full, too late. And then they said, no, actually what, try this education. You'll do it in your first year. Then next year, you'll change, but you will credit you some of the courses. Because whether you do education or financial accounting, you do the exact same module. We don't have courses for teachers and courses for become student. You all must be competent in the same content because the kids that you want to teach, they want to be accountants themselves. So you see, for me it made sense. So I do that in my first year. Doc, I enjoy my first year. Because
the
actually,
the environment
there's a campus for education students. It's called Groenkloof. It's not just back opposite of UNISA. It's in Groenkloof. So I get in there, I enjoy myself. I'm like, yo, this life. I'm staying at rest.
This is life.
Yo, the university. Student cards, loaded with money.
I was about to ask you when this first existed.
We used to call it TEFSAS by then. Tertiary education, financial student, what, 8. They loading a lot of money, dude. And you know you are at tax, but here's the thing. I'm from a village, so hey, the accent. This one is like a day. It's bad, dude. It's bad. It's bottle. But you know what? It's from there that at some point in time I sit down and I thank my mom. To say, if I did not have a mom that was connected and though she's not educated herself, but she values education, I will still be at home and most probably give a and all that. So literally my mom saved
you from yourself.
From myself, the type of life that I'm leading right now, dude. If you at some point in time, I told me that, dude, you're gonna have 3 cars. One of them will be, or 3 of them will be from Germany. There will be America. There will be. I was like, when I was nothing like that. So today I'm very grateful, and especially with education. You know, I've always maintained with my life there are 3 things that I want to do. It's either I'm going to be a pastor, it's either I'm going to be on TV, or perhaps even teaching. But what I knew is that I needed to speak wherever I'm going to work.
You needed a voice.
I just needed to talk. Even radio was one thing that I considered at some point in time. But because, I like talking. People will know that day, me and jokes.
I'm a victim.
I know, we come a long way.
Yeah.
But
So, the story, how did you get into teaching? It's so inspiring. Because you see now, the person you are, the person you built yourself into, my mind would say, Mara, this guy would have at least been a psychologist. Like he would have at least, because you have that articulation to speak to people, you have that, that knowledge to liberate. Like you say, round tables are all about liberating.
That's true.
You know what? I'm a teacher or a student, but I've been there. Just be free, talk to me. Let's just be equals. My thinking would be, why I say it is psychology, something like, because it's almost in line with that. You see, but now I got the story of why actually, what happened, what transpired in the process of becoming a teacher. Right? So, just to go now, consider the students and to an aspiring learner, no, so about we are teaching. Like, do you advise them? Do you think, you should do it's a proper thing for you, or it's more of a personality? If you have this trait, you can do it. Do you advise any typical learners to go into teaching?
You know what? You can see that my heart just sunk a bit.
Yeah.
And this is because we need to start changing the narrative around the profession, education, and teaching. Because for the longest of time, I've noted with dismay that teaching will usually attract learners that were generally not doing well at school.
Yes, I've noticed.
Yeah.
And you know what that says? People perhaps sometimes don't even look at it that far. But if you attract the learner that is a 30%, 40%, 50% type of a performing student, that means these kids in class are going to get a 50% type of a teacher.
Yeah, it will.
So we are never going to get those level 7 educators that can deliver on that high level, who have the work ethic. We might attract substandard educators. But the thing that I like about any profession is that even though you might get in not being the greatest, if you have the will to can develop yourself as a professional, you can get to a level where you become one of those greatest teachers that learners will enjoy having in class. So will I encourage anyone to be in teaching? Maybe not anyone. Then who must then become a teacher? One, you need to have love for kids.
Yeah.
Two, you need to understand that teaching is more like being a pastor.
Yeah.
It's a selfless type of a profession, because these guys will know that late at night, say we are writing accounting tomorrow, 11:30 in the evening. Phone call, say we send you something on WhatsApp, can you respond? We are trying to do this activity, and you wake up and you have these kids. I would laugh when people will say, this one are the God's favorite people. My teacher, and I'm like, yo, these dudes don't even know what happens in the teacher's life. They don't understand that. I mean, I was telling people that a doctor, a lawyer, a police officer, these guys, when they're doing their jobs, they don't need their client, their patient to participate for them to have a success. A doctor, surgeon will say, lay on the table, they sedate you, they take out the liver, put another one, they close you up. You don't even have to, they don't say sculpture and say, here it is. But for a teacher to be classified as having succeeded, I need the learner to participate. And it's difficult to get someone else to participate in something else when they don't want to. Moreover, when you're in a classroom that has about 50 learners and they are all learning at different levels, their learning capacity is different, and you need to ensure that whatever you're going to say, you must reach these guys
at their level,
and help everyone to pass in here. And it takes a lot of sitting down, thinking analytically and strategically to say, how am I going to do it? Go back again, how did I do it the last time? It did not work. Okay, revise. How may I do it and all that? So when you go into teaching, you need to be aware of those kind of things. It's not going to be they got into class, wrote notes, and they slept. There's nothing like that. Because these kids that we are teaching now, we are not preparing them for the 4IR. The 4IR is here.
Yeah.
We need to ensure that the type and the level of education that we give to them will help them to can be able not only to succeed here but to thrive
Yeah.
in this current era of life that we are having. You know,
because it's a fast one.
because it's a first one. So when you get into teaching, love your work. Know that there will be extra hours. There's no payment for overtime. Look at the time now. What is it? Almost to 4, and we are here. Some teachers are there sitting with learners. Extra classes that we are having. Sundays, I'm here every Sunday with my learners. No one is paying me for that, but it's because the love that I have with these learners to can be able to thrive tomorrow, because they also have dreams. I need to make sure that I make an impact in their life, that tomorrow when I'm passing by, people can say, you know, this man might not have helped me to get 100% in business studies, but there's something that he left in my heart.
Yeah.
There's something that he touched, and that's what makes my life and my profession to be worthwhile. Yeah.
So, what would you say is the difference between the education system that you grew up in and the current?
You know what on paper much has changed, practically not much. Because when I went to class, we used to sit in rows.
Yeah.
You get into your classroom, 2022, we are still sitting in rows. Remember, the system of learners sitting in rows was designed for an industry. So at an industrial workplace, employees need to sit in a row because everybody has got their own workstation and they need to work. So that is how the education system actually came about to be designed in this way. But when you look into the workplace these days, there's teamwork when you get in there. There's collaboration, there's social cohesion that's needed. Something that I think we ought to be moving towards, that our teaching and learning, actually not, let's remove teaching, our facilitation of learning should be more project based and more learner centered than anything else. But today you still find many of us educators who think we are the main source of education and knowledge. These learners don't know, I know. So they need to keep quiet, I need to speak. Whereas we need to have a situation where learners themselves need to be active participants, where we say, tomorrow we are going to talk about how a cell phone is made. Go out there, conduct your own research. So when we get into class, learners must be excited to share what they have learned. But if you have learners that are passive and say, tomorrow we are doing this, research so that we have a chat, and neither of them did, they're just sitting there waiting for you to say something else, we are still missing it. You know, when you get into classrooms in China, in Singapore, learners, they sit down, there's a laptop, they open up, the educators already set the whole day what they must look for you. And everything that they do is all about me as the educator facilitating, or the facilitating learning and all that. So a lot needs to change. There are good milestones that we have made. Now learners don't rely on textbooks anymore. We have tablets. You know, we are taking advantage, smart boards, taking advantage of this, you know, technology that is being introduced into the classroom. But we can do more. We are on the right track, but we can still do more.
You know, teaching, any typical teacher, Mokas, you know, social, difficulties are a lot as a teacher. Generally, as a teacher, you're gonna have difficulties. Like, we've been here for some time now. We saw you were dealing with some boys, you know, like difficulties. You know. So I just wanna know, is there a case whereby the interactions you have with your pupils, is there a case whereby how you're out to the streets, it follows you somehow? Because as you say, you once hit a teacher with a break. Like, do you ever encounter those challenges whereby you spoke to him and someone like I was starting maybe how one. Have you ever do you get those challenges? Because
you know what, I wouldn't put it past learners that the love point was but it's not easy. I usually will joke with them and tell them, Nagi teacher a touchline. You must be aware, can I soft handle because of the profession. I know how to play. No, but you know, that's me teasing them. But no, because much as I'm hard on these kids now and again because of the type of work that I do. And remember, now and again we need to give tough love. Because our profession is one that when parents send their kids to school, they are expecting us to play a parental role here. So I must treat these learners as if I would treat my own kids, and not only just because they are learners. Because when I see them as learners, I will not give much care to them as I would to my own kids.
Exactly.
So I'm being tough on them because tough love sometimes needs to be practiced.
Yeah,
And the whole aim is for me to try and correct their behavior. And I'm not going to sit here and try to, romanticize issues, being nice and dolly with kids, and they're getting out of hand. And tomorrow, the very same child, when I'm an old man, I'm in a bank, they're working there, they make me wait for 80 minutes because I did not teach them the principles of work ethic. Those things are important. That the type of principle that and values that we instill in these kids, they're supposed to bear fruits in the future. That's why Pelo today have an because of at some point in time the teacher had to emphasize that regardless of where you at, this is what you need to. I mean, you guys, the principles that you have, you can't tell me it's only your parents that contributed. Most probably teachers at some point in time they did contribute, and I know our profession is not usually an attractive profession, and usually because of my chango. Many students, they look teachers say, they say, maybe I just say, but my life is comfortable. If you go Cape Town, I get into a flight. If you go driver somewhere, just call sunroof. Get Mercedes Benz. Now I don't know what you're talking about when you say you're not comfortable. I mean, all my enmities are here.
As always, Mr. Lebelo will not
So you know what? This is me. When I'm having, but you know what? You can have a comfortable life. It's true that teaching is not one of the best paying jobs out there, but you can have a comfortable life. You don't get into this profession because of money, then you are in the wrong profession. But a decent life you could have, man. We have 3 modes of transport at home. We're traveling with our kids. They're not necessarily in all private schools, but they are in good schools where we are still paying. It's not the 9 fee paying, but you know what? You can be comfortable. Nice clothes you can have, nice food at the back of your back. So it's not really that bad. So it's really not that bad.
It's comfortable. Like
it is comfortable. I don't want to lie. I'll get home. I want to Netflix because I have Wi-Fi the whole house. I mean, I want to show Max, and those kids are okay, man. They are okay.
They don't like anything.
Yeah.
So locally, but questions which some teacher no, like ask Ira S1. Do you think general teacher Ramukasi and the schools Ramukasi are they well equipped to produce like proper professionals? Do you think are they equipped enough, in terms of whatever resources and all that? Do you think local schools, we can also like regard this one that we have?
You know what? It takes more than just equipment to can produce a quality student. Remember, in order to produce a learner, we speak of a tripod. A child's education is something like that. So inside the child's education. But in order for Peter A or there are 3 legs. Is the parent, is the student, and is the teacher here. And if any of the legs is broken, obviously the pot it will tip over, it will fall. And that's what happens to the education, which are the content inside. Obviously, let's on our so it takes way much more. And I'm saying this because many kids, even today in rural areas, they are thriving. You go to Venda and look at most of their schools compared to the schools in Gauteng. You can see that they are way far apart. But you go and look at majority of these vendors. I'm telling you, those guys, man, they are struggling, but they are thriving academically. They are doing well. You find them, they are doctors, they are engineers, and all that. So now you realize that equipment is just one part. Because equipment gives you an advantage, but it's not a guarantee that you will be better than the other one. It makes your life a little bit easier. When we teach our kids, there's a subject, accounting, there, and a topic in manufacturing. We speak about the direct material and the direct labor, as well as the overheads. So the overheads refers to anything else that makes the manufacturing of the product much easier for you. But it doesn't mean without them it cannot be made. We can take this table for example. There's a plank and there's a stick. I mean, someone had to use an electric saw that had to be plugged, but doesn't mean if there's no electricity, we cannot cut this thing. We can use the manual, so it will take us longer, but it will still be done. You know, so when you speak about those equipment, they're supposed to make us to see things that we ordinarily would not have been able to see, like the internet. It exposes you to other things that you cannot see if you just, you know, confined to this small area. But yes, it's important. Our kids baba irang life sciences, physics, it's only this apparatus, microscope, but you want to know, so that back on interest by a scientist and all that to ignite these things. You know, so yes, apparatus is extremely important. But then some schools will have those apparatus and still not produce. Why? If they are not being used, then learners don't achieve, and some may not have but still achieve more. So the combination of the two is important. But you know what, we cannot downplay it. These equipments, this technology is extremely important in order for us to can compete on a global level in terms of our education. Because kids out there, man, in other countries, they doing. I mean, our learners now. I remember last week, Mr. Mzimela took some of the learners. They were part of the competition, coding.
Okay.
They are studying programming now.
Technology.
From
man, and learners Babatamudi extension in Yusho Mogas. Coding.
No, it's too much.
Two of them, they won. That particular competition, dude.
From gas.
From Gasi, not being exposed. I want a laptop or maybe go ahead and all that. And you can see that if they were to have this equipment, how many of them ever had a lab that is fully functioning today? How many learners Baba Kenangara Bangeva coding by now? Maybe coding again, we can make a game. For example, one can make a program, a software, speed camera, cold drink and all that. Those things need someone else to start. You know, it's coding and all the programming. So we just need those equipment to get a little bit better.
This makes sense. But Panamokasi, you spoke about the analogy at reports. You spoke about the analogy the elastic rubber band. Now, to understand that for Panamokasi, most of them, do you think influence to rebel against teachers and the rules of the school? It's more of a environment, school influence, or it's more of their backgrounds, as to say, we are from, most of us, Kasi, they're from disadvantage. Do you think or a background that one it has more role to play, or the school environment can have more role, or actually, or another combination of the two? Which one do you think it's more, powerful?
You know, that's a very great, interesting question. Allow me to open my account this way.
Yeah.
If you want to learn any community, get into the school.
Yeah.
The way the kids behave is how life is in the community. Area. It's a direct reflection. So these kids don't leave their homes being angel and they get here become little mini devils.
Yes.
Perhaps in their own household, they could behave because there's parents there. But when they get into the street, there are peers that they interact with. As adults who project a certain type of lifestyle being the eat lifestyle, the drinking a lot, the stealing. I don't have to go to work. I have shortcuts of making money and all that. All those kids, they see it and they absorb. They may not be aware of it, but subconsciously you absorb everything that is around you. You know, so the influence comes from back in the community, and when we come into the school environment, because most of these teachers that are here, they may not be coming from the very same environment. So they see these kids for the first time, and ours is to try to mold, to pluck out things that are bad, leave those that are good from the community, and now come and add whatever that we think can be able to help them in the long run. But here's the thing. I will tell these kids, you see, the fact that RDP, it's not your problem, it's not your mistake. But if you are going to live and die there, that is yours. That's on you. So you can be able to get out here. I mean, look, I don't see guys Baba Shapam podcast many people might discourage you and say, hey, and all that. Why did I go Kasi? Let go Kawashkaro Rengasing Gamlanya, hey, kids are chasing coconut, they think they're better, this ones and all that. You're always going to have these haters, but you guys have the willpower to can want to make this a success. And that is the most important ingredient that I wish many of our learners, even give a like a teaspoon, then gotta have willpower. Just want to succeed is important for you, for any person. You know, your attitude is half the work towards anything else. If your attitude is that of I get
Results are
to just exactly that. But if you have the attitude there against all odds, I want to make it here. And I can tell you, even like, you know, the cosmos, they come to work towards helping you. They gravitate you towards whatever that you want to achieve, you know. Visualize it, think about it, let it manifest in your body. Let it be your daily language that this podcast is going one day. It will be much even better than the podcast and chill and all that. If you have that willpower, if you have that belief, I am telling you, there's nothing that is stopping you. We will start small, but we're going out there. No camera 48,000, you know. You see, but it's quality.
That's the thing.
Guys, let's take another quick recap and everything.
Okay. I just make it back on.
Subscribe to KasiKast.
Hey, yo, welcome back, and we still having Mr. Mahali. So, Mr. Mahali.
Mr. Lebelo.
Everyone is going to cut it out.
Blue, but
Mr. Lebelo.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Lebelo, what would you say was your, like, whereby you felt proud of being a teacher, or the best moment of being a teacher when you say that this was it?
Hey guys, I have many. Hey, I've got
But
many
you gotta pick
moments.
one, alright? That's one.
Your
Stands
best,
out.
like your.
It stands out. Hey,
And what happened?
you know what? Let me put it, because as a teacher we have what we call our co-curriculum. Like you know, we are hired to go to class and teach, impart knowledge. But beyond that, there are other extracurricular activities that we need to engage in, both soccer, chess, whatever, and all that. Again, some time ago, I think it was 2009, in Rustenburg, a school called Sehila High School. I was the soccer coach there, and this was just after I moved over from Kotegis, because I used to even play soccer there, so I was still active by then. And coached by top coaches, Gogo Tax. So I found that soccer Naisi, Manate Eswa and all that, and I revived the soccer team. And to a point whereby, you know, that's man, that's one of my highest. I don't know.
What year was that?
This is 2009. And I found a team. They did not want to participate much because there was no teacher that was really much involved. And they themselves, because usually they know the neighboring school in a little player and team. So those boys team in because they will go to this other school. So go to say we had some of them, they were playing for those teams, but they knew that we were not as good as those. So I found learners whose confidence was also chipped down because they knew that we
can't
never
compete. We can't compete.
Then I took them for a period of a month, straight training after school, because luckily I was staying very close to the school. I would get those boys, train with them, give them tips, because they get the proper team, tax team. So now I have the knowledge and coaching, all that. Copas, Kolo, the SGBA, buy me these props. I need the the bolo. I need these boys. And what I did is that I made them to start believing in themselves. So the attitude that they had, it had to change. I wanted a team that had a winning attitude by all means, and they needed to believe that they themselves, they are good. Canada, first game, against this Iketlis. The strong one, sharp. Game me at home. So those boys, when they start Gavona man, hey, chips are done. Gents, I never. You cannot do that. So when the first one to run ball, you know what? Mudribule right say. That boy spy too. Sure. Crowd there. Wow. Now when that happens, now the confidence is coming. I said no, let's get and they started to play the ball. Said the way we read practice, and the opposite team was actually shocked.
Now it's like,
what happened? You understand? Sorry, that boy is 1-0. But Bagope a rematch But no, you copy in 2 days time.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. 2 days time.
Hello, what's hard?
2 days time. Everywhere about 4 not this time. They could not believe that.
What an embarrassment.
I'm telling they could not believe that. So now the confidence starting to grow. The tournament they whatever fun. Now we are going to compete for tournaments because go Troponza go Rustenburg and all that.
Yeah.
You know, it did that. And this other time, sadly, I have a very unsavory situation. The PT principals of the school. So at this point in time, no the MEC wa education on that side. The principal Nabasanya ko participate. So I made everyone the tech. Because someone's coming for security purposes, but couldn't identify we are a teacher and all that. So those ones, when I asked them prior to the event, they don't want to even participate. So I got very ready to take. Hey, about what is it? Yo, they were furious. So after the event, they called me. Remember, I was still a young teacher. They bully me. I'm frustrated. I'm just saying, I was angry and pissed off. Then it's in the middle of school. Tomorrow we are playing a game. It's a Friday. Tomorrow we are playing a game. I left Kamola, and you know, when I'm angry at the time, sometimes I start to shake and my tears just come out. So hey, kids over fana hey, sir, can't they? We are guy, no. No, it's fine. Little sharp. My house is front opposite the school. I'm scratching, start pack my bags. I'm furious. As I'm about to leave, someone tells the other teacher, "Hey, Lebelo, hapo what's am I?" Hey, kids, I'm a fana vale batomonyo go taka school. And for me,
your team,
my team, and for me, I'm not actually looking at the disruption. For someone to can want to do this is because they value and they see that something is happening, and they understand that now that we are a team, in order for us to succeed, we need the coach to be around. This man has not just taught us how to play football; he has instilled things that nobody else have ever tried to instill in us. But finally, this is the climax of the story. They start a song in my name. Out of nowhere. And they used to say, Haretsa Mai Lebelo, I see you. They start to say, and you know the soccer boys when they start to say, and the whole school starts to go out. Because now this team is liked by the whole school. The whole school joins. As I'm about to get into the car, the principal calls me. Lebelo, you can't do that. I am telling you. But you like my teacher about four. They drove so fast to try or bank. You know, at the back of my mind, when I think about it later on, I'm like, hey, boy, there's something you must have done right for this to happen. I mean, I've never seen something happen like this. But it's because of, you know, I found boys that wanted to see themselves being something, being valued differently in life and all that. And I'll say from the extracurricular that touched me, that I must have made an impact in this kid's life for them to want me to still be part of the team, you know. But class-wise, it has been when, you know, you'll get a learner, older Nafila, and you get this learner to be one of top class. One Jacob Mkize, a learner that I taught, I graduated. He's a he.
From this school?
No, not from this school. From another school that I used to teach. When he graduated, he calls me and say, we got 3 tickets. It's a graduation to invite. 2 of them I'm giving to my mom and my dad. This other one, the aunt and all that, I told them there is no way
they're gonna get it.
Even my parents, I told them the order of the tickets. It's Mr. Lebelo and you two here at the back. You know, that touched me a lot to say, so many years and after I have taught this boy, he still thinks of me, say, hey, that guy, man, the teacher, he had an impact in my life. And you know, many times as teachers, we do things, we say things, we don't see that we are actually making an impact into this kid's life. You know, it's only later on that the child comes back and say, when I know or when I'm in here, you motivated me to become someone else in life. So that the invite, the graduation, I was so ecstatic that of all the family members, we invited Nantuana.
Sideline of the family member.
Imagine that, man. That's an honor for me. You know, the family invited me out. Let's for lunch and all that. But besides that, is when I get the fellows who were not passing well, and you try to push them, and eventually you see their marks improving. Because if there's something that I've learned from even my previous school, you know, I'll now and again I'll reference the school because there's many things that I've learned from that school. Now, I don't want to lie. It's one of those schools that are not well known, but if you look into their philosophy, how they approach education in general, there's a lot that many of us as educators can learn from there. You know, so...
And it speaks a lot about the management of the school, right?
It does. It does. So hey, that school has instilled a lot, man. You know,
Yeah.
hey, so one of the things there is that they taught me to say, you know, in life, we don't celebrate learners that are doing well. We celebrate every little progress.
Yeah.
So a learner on agria 12% in a subject. Tomorrow haka kwala test agria 18%. But this
There's a
6%
progress.
improvement must be celebrated.
Yeah.
This person needs to know that they are moving in the correct and positive trajectory. They are coming. And many a times we will focus on the fact that faith, but you don't realize, oh yeah, faith are now we are progress. We celebrate the progress, not the destination, which is the fact that also 18%.
Yeah.
You know, and when I've seen my learners moving from one bit to the other, I was excited. Bopilo na balko grouping ela yadi services group, and services group ke called tourism, consumer and then banal business, and it is generally the group that will be classified as the much easier stream compared to the sciences and body accounts and all that.
That's the notion.
You know, there was a boy called Gabriel. I can't remember Gab's name is. And I remember some point in time, na topa ba na ba business studies.
Yeah.
Even leba who the account to business.
Yeah.
But nalika mo services. Aba topiles the top student ka business studies. And those things, I win for me that I celebrate as part of things that I celebrate as a teacher, because he's a learner that once was there but now becomes a top student, and they are better than them. Waba outclass, which is something that I really. So there are many, but yeah, those are the ones that I can highlight for now.
Your teaching has highs and lows. Ne?
Yeah, it does.
There's a lot going on in teaching.
What would you say like is the most difficult thing about being a teacher?
It's
Facilitating or disciplining? What?
It's the difficult part is the sacrifice of oneself to make one to succeed.
Yeah.
And that many teachers out there do not have.
Yeah.
The self-sacrifice so that the other person, the other child, can succeed.
You put yourself on the line.
Giving yourself the time to prepare for these kids and not just pitch up. Giving yourself, taking your own time to go an extra mile in the afternoons, in the weekends, without even being remunerated for that. To take that child and say, come here, let me help you out. When you don't have to be able to be doing that, you know. And of course the discipline comes in as well when you find yourself in a school environment where generally bana bateng haba disciplined. And now and again you have to sit on cases. You know, I don't know how many times I'll be called outside of a classroom. Say balo ebe ke mara hona le ma teacher mang. Say ba tshaba wena ke why ba tshaba na one teacher and all that. So but it's
Like you have that like authority.
Maybe it's something like that, because we need to complement each other in terms of our own strengths and abilities and weaknesses and all that. So I guess I have that you know, when I speak most of the time, learners, they do listen and all that. I don't know why is that. Bopilo will tell us why they listen, because sometimes I don't have to say much. I just stand here.
There's order.
There's order. And sometimes I'm like, no, I don't want these kids to fear me. I want them to respect me. I don't care about how because of fear. But yeah, sometimes it needs to happen. It's kids. Sometimes you just need to be a little bit tough to get them into order, you know.
If it was up to you and you were in charge, what aspects of local Kasi schools, what aspects would you change? What would you change if you had the power to change?
In a particular school or in the schooling system?
Yeah, in the schooling system. Local township schools.
Kasi schools.
Yeah. What
you know what?
Change?
Hey,
district.
Hey, gentlemen, let me tell you this. So I've worked in Harangua, and now I'm here in Soshangu. Public schools Harangua. Those kids are generally more disciplined than our kids kamo social. That I can tell you without fail. It doesn't mean that our social kids are bad students. They are not. But because of environmental element, difficult. Like how you go most of the kids and all that. And one more disciplined
most of them
than the one analy a young parent. A teenager and all that. The environment but you come to social and most of the people.
Yeah,
Want to know?
yeah.
So le kam khore phelang our way of life.
The tradition.
The tradition,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
even when you go to China, you find Chinese.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
they all more or less live
Principles
by
are
the same principles.
Yeah, yeah.
How to nakamukas? Ki everyone.
Yeah, now we're different
From
now.
the school mo, ki 8A. Ki ba bisa ko kay gomoro ki ngona kam. School ki taka you
Yeah.
find different foreign internationals, but pedi ba twana changani venda and all that
yeah.
comedy and all that.
Different
So
tradition,
it's
cultures, backgrounds.
different. It's tough
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
kid that thrives and survives here. I tell people, wabana any child that gets to live in this environment and they make it out, I'm telling you, they faced hell back and forth.
A lot.
Yourselves to be where you are, gentlemen, and this is where you are born and bred. I am telling you, there are many odds that are against you to can
Yeah, we
fail
had to
in life.
overcome. Yeah.
The aspect of you succeeding in life, they are actually slim. So when you make it, you need to pat yourself now and I can say, you know what, it may not look like big now, but we are doing something great.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I will change is the work ethic.
Yeah.
Many of our learners don't have the work ethic, man. Majority of who do homework, the issue, the naughtiness about the teenage pregnancy, I don't know how many times I grab a fan about Abadi to be fair, body regisaka baji, we have to call police officers, who could do a case here, district. You know, they disrespect the man, our school towards the teachers, come classing. Those are the things that makes education for in LA a little bit. And if we're to earn those things, I'm telling you, our kids will achieve way much better than they are. You know, issues of resources. A child that might spend the first 3 months of the year as not textbook,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
disadvantaged
it's a
already,
problem.
you know,
It's a problem, that one.
it's a problem, that one. You know, the teachers who absent themselves a lot in a school. You know, I'm not necessarily talking about my school, but an educator that will absent themselves for long. Because when you are not around, the kids cannot have someone to can be able to help them.
Yeah.
You know, certain subjects are difficult, man. To can find 2 days without having a teacher around.
Yeah.
It's
It's a lot.
and all that. You know, so there's a lot, but I can tell you, there's a lot of strides that we have made in education, especially those in charge at the top.
Yeah.
To try and make our life a little bit easier. You know, there used to be a lot of paperwork back then, lesson plans and all that. Now the department is providing those things. Say, teachers, let's lessen the burden so that you can focus
Yeah.
on the preparation part rather than the planning part of things.
Yeah.
You know, so those things are provided to us. These gadgets, study guides, there are lots of material analysis support there. People give subject specialists, give subject facilitators. They come, the district they are for support as teachers to can be able to do better. The question papers, in a question bank. You know, they are trying their best to can ensure a teacher is equipped so that they can be able to help the learners. So it's just those teething problems are disrespect, the high absenteeism, or lack of work ethic, commitment, discipline. I mean, when you came into my office, I had 3 gentlemen that were banking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you ask yourself, if you are banking, how am I going to help you if you are not inside the classroom?
Yeah, it's something.
You know, so it's just those general problems that you'll have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So which learner is easy to teach or easy to comprehend? A boy child or a girl child?
No, there's no distinction, really.
Yeah.
In truth, there's not. You know what? We've been made to believe that girls are much easier to teach.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, the notion that we have. all of us,
matsatsing a bana ba banyana ba ikarabela. Yeah, that's what we see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know that for a fact.
and sadly because of the environment they ba golang kwana ba bang ba thoma lo jola le batho ba bagolo take care.
Yeah.
So when you get into a classroom, male teacher or female teacher, oh bona ka re
Yeah,
mo lebelele.
yeah,
Yeah, how le ntato
yeah.
le kana le motho
Yeah.
how le make ja monna how, you know, those things.
Yeah,
So sometimes it gets to be a little bit hard. So in terms of gender, no, there's no really one aspect of getting, yeah, this one they are better to teach than this one.
Yeah.
No, it's all about banaba what are their values and principles. If you have a principled child, I'm telling you are winning with the child because and then remember the whole point of assessment as a teacher. How far a test, a classwork or homework, you are not actually interested in the things that they know. You are trying to find out the things that they do not know, so that you can go back and help them on the things that they don't know. So when you give them a homework and this child is not disciplined enough to do the homework, they come back while copies, and then you thinking, let's move on. Only to find out the copies from one learner, and then the impression is wrong. So it's Gen Z.
It's
This profession.
struggle,
It's something
It's a
else.
struggle. That's why we try to orate Spanish how.
Yeah.
If you want to succeed in this profession, teaching. You
Yeah.
really must want people to succeed
Yeah.
in life. And that's what I want for these kids, man. In all aspects, they must succeed. And maybe just to add something, we need to be clear on this one. Not all kids are meant for the mainstream schooling.
Yeah.
Mainstream
Yeah, I
schooling,
think-
like
yeah.
we don't all
Yeah.
have to be inside the classroom. We don't have all to be there. We cannot all be doctors,
Yeah,
teachers,
makes sense.
engineers, and all that.
Yeah.
But our failure to can be able to identify what our kids are good at or what our learners are good at, so that we can direct them from the initial stage.
I was about to ask you how do we actually change that narrative and not all
Yeah.
needs to be taught in
And not
mainstream?
to choose.
Yeah, no, Babu.
The classroom, we're not gonna get successful from the
Gentlemen,
classroom.
you are here now. You don't need to be doctors,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
you can still make a success
'Cause
out
like-
of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, like the issue is with the parent, because that mindset is like
Notion,
no,
yeah,
that's the way.
mentality of like all
So
our
now my
all
thing
our
is how do we
classroom.
change that?
Yeah.
How do we change
So
that?
yeah, wait,
Like,
yeah. As a
for them
teacher,
to
as a
know.
guardian, how do we change that narrative? Yeah, but classroom. How do we change that?
Yes. No, obviously parents themselves, and with the mistake that we often will do, ke gore re tlabiletse bana a day or two career guidance. And a day or two is not enough, because a child today when you're going to say, change his eye, so it's more of a journey, and the parent needs to be there every stage of the way. For Anand, I monitor the child, the interest is a heavy change, but it's changing from this to that, and what else can be done in this regard.
Yeah.
And when about to Rasa,
Yeah. Before we close,
Yeah.
Metric but are you confident that your students are going to produce top marks? Have you equipped them? Are they ready?
my students are ready. You see, with me,
Yeah.
I'm a captain that fights with my student.
Yeah.
So until they are done with my paper at the year end,
Yeah.
I'm forever going to be with them.
Yeah.
Ready? Yes, they are ready.
Yeah.
Is the tank full? No.
Yeah.
Now and again, we need to go back, revise, and say,
Yeah.
where did you get it wrong? How do we fix it? How do we do it better the next time? But in terms of the trial exam, they are ready. We prepared them very well.
Yeah.
Revision we have done, but it doesn't end here. When they are done with revision, they will come back for about a week or two before they now start with the final exam. And yet again, they will be here. I mean, we just had an in-house camp. They were sleeping at school.
Okay.
We were teaching them, helping them to prepare for this trial exam. Saturdays they still attend their sleep. Sundays we are here with them. So we are not done until Messi is a great player, but Santa training.
Yeah, he still does.
Yeah.
CR is a great player, but
Yeah.
Before you go, Chiefs or
Sundowns.
Let me ask you, the last one.
Sundowns taking the Telkom 8, man. Sundowns. We don't care Chiefs or Mazulos. Sundowns is taking the Telkom.
Okay.
Now
Yeah.
yellow.
If you were to retire today,
Yeah.
how would you like people or
To remember
learners
you.
to remember
Yeah.
you?
I would like everyone to remember me as someone that made them to see life differently,
Yeah.
to value life,
Yeah.
to add value, and not expect anything in return
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah. Nice.
And that's how I want them to remember.
Yeah. Ladies and gents, we had a nice show. More Social Ngube
South,
South.
secondary,
Yeah,
yes.
with Mr. Lebelo. Barely good to it. If you don't subscribe, you don't like, you don't share, you don't comment, hopefully next year, head result we're gonna be here again.
Please do.
Interview the top achiever.
Yes.
Because we're looking for somebody going to get distinctions. Hopefully, I East this time. Hopefully,
No, come here.
Yeah, we're gonna come.
This is
here.
the top school in the district.
Yeah,
You need to be here.
So you promise we're gonna come back.
Please do.
There's gonna be a reason to come back again.
There's already a reason to be back here.
Yeah.
These kids that you are seeing behind you, these are top learners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah. Thank you, Mister. Thank you
Nah.
for your time. We really enjoyed being here.
Thank you a lot, gentlemen.
Yeah, the Street Parliament KasiKastTV is signing out. We love everybody.
That's sweet. All right.
Let me let the brass band to the one. Yeah, somebody to do out. It's a